We have the Carabao Cup final, so we got 2 titles. Basically, we got a hand on each.
And Dan Burn gives Newcastle United the lead. It's his first goal for over a year.
I know it's a sad day for Liverpool fans. We won't be able to see him to continue to add points to the lead, but we'll be going for the title.
Against Murphy, Isak! He may just have won a cup final for them.
I don't know what happened in Arsenal. Arsenal, the ones that bottled.
I can't believe what I've just seen. PSG were absolutely outstanding. Battered Liverpool.
15 points clear of second place. Arsenal. They believe that everyone in Arsenal is their Lord and Savior and everything like that. These delusional Arsenal fans. Of course, I'm going to pick Chelsea over Arsenal.
The overwhelming score on aggregate means that Arsenal reached the Champions League quarter-finals in back-to-back seasons.
Who needs Arsenal, right? Arsenal game against Arsenal. For Arsenal. Some Arsenal fans. Arsenal. Why
about yourself? Why about yourself?
I think I'm a special one.
I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again.
Incredible stuff.
Hey.
Someone's upset.
Yeah, I mean, when I win, I don't get
Someone's like
the
that real
rivals
personal.
intro, but whatever, it's all fine. I wanted to see what he puts up when I win the Premier League title. We'll see.
Oh,
Right, Pat's all you.
You think I was dead, huh? You think I'm dead?
You are dead. You are dead. You're dead to me. You're dead to me.
I wasn't gonna let that go over my dead body.
How many hours did you put into that? I feel like that's why you haven't been answering to anything.
No, I
Slaving
just
away
did
in
that
the
today.
computer.
I actually did just listen to
I
the
did it
episode today.
He called out of
Oh.
work to do that.
I listened to the episode on the bus and I was like, all right, screenshot. Just having a little fun since I didn't have my say last week. So, but just all banter, all fun and games. But I'm here. I'm back. Your favorite Arsenal supporter, Pat. And I'm here with, I'll say first in the league. First in the league. Randy with Liverpool.
All right.
And Tottenham back with a renewed squad. Same old results.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
New Year,
All right.
same shit.
The definition of insanity.
New old players. All right. So yeah, let's get this going.
Well, before we get into match week 29,
yeah.
maybe we should address the little elephant,
elephant
in the room.
Yeah.
If you notice, there was a few teams who didn't play this weekend because they were playing at the Carabao World Cup.
Yeah.
What cup is
Let me
that?
Let me look down the
Carabao Cup.
list. Who are we missing this in the Premier League match week? Wolves. I see Newcastle missing. Who else?
I'm sorry, guys. They have
Liverpool.
old age, so they have trouble seeing who's playing. I'll just get to the
I gotta
point.
put on my
Liverpool
bifocals.
and Newcastle were exempt from this week's Premier League because we were playing in the Carabao Cup final.
How'd that go? I didn't get to watch.
Neither did I. But
Did you get
I
the
don't
treble?
have Paramount. I don't have Paramount, but hey, maybe Paramount Plus. If you guys are listening, could we use a couple sponsors?
Yeah, sponsor us.
Yeah, but I didn't get to see it, but I saw. I mean, was reading the stats, the commentary, and stuff like that, and I was just like, God damn it, bro! Did not expect that. I think Liverpool went spring break a little bit early. It was just been a bad week, but this stuff happens. It just sucks that it had to happen during a crucial Champions League game and the final. But you can't win them all, and it sucks. Congrats to Newcastle. They haven't had a domestic cup title, I believe, in 70 years.
70 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sucks
And
to
we
get
got
it
crap.
against Liverpool, but it is what it is. It happens. We can't win every game, but it just didn't expect Liverpool to be shut out like that. The same how it wasn't when we were playing in Paris against Paris Saint-Germain, and how it was in Anfield as against Paris Saint-Germain, and it's just been complete lackluster up front for us, but it is what it is. I mean, we can get into it more later, but yeah, Liverpool lost to Newcastle 2-1. There you guys go. You can talk what you guys want to say. It's all
I will say
fun and
this.
games, but
I will
it is what
say
it is.
this.
Speak.
If the season, if there's more season left, if I was a Liverpool fan, I'll be a little worried. But I think with 9 games left, you're kind of on the safe side.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think this is probably a bad week to be a Liverpool fan, to be a Liverpool player, to be a slot machine. But at the end of the day, I mean, you get a prem out of it. That's got to be some sort of consolation, right?
I think that's the biggest consolation. I think that's the main thing. Domestic cups are nice, but but yeah, at least like Alan said, if it was
It's not
more
the goal.
season, that's the goal, is a Premier League. And the good thing is we have that 12-point cushion, so we can afford to have bad days, but we just don't want those bad days to be a continuous thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be anything, right? I mean, we're not in the dressing room. I don't want to say that Liverpool players got carried away. I think they did a little bit in the Champions League, but in this cup, in the Carabao Cup, I think Newcastle were just really up for it. You could
They
tell
just
that
wanted it more,
They
you know?
wanted it. They really
Yeah.
wanted this.
After
I mean,
70 years, I'm sure,
I
The
mean,
thing
not,
too,
a lot of
I
pressure.
agree. I just think like after the poor performance against Paris Saint-Germain and Anfield, I thought this might have been like a wake up call a little bit. Like,
yeah,
okay,
sometimes you
we
need those
lost that.
losses.
Yes, okay, we lost it, but guess what? The next game is a final. Let's take this loss and get it into positive energy. But we just continued the same thing. No shots on target. The midfield was non-existent. The forwards, he's went 0 for 0, no shots. I think that's his first time he's went without a shot. The defense was holding off, but then again, it was just Newcastle. I felt they wanted it more. And like I said, congrats to them. We can't win them all, but they showed they wanted it more, and they fought for everything. And good for them. Congrats to them. I think maybe it could be tired legs a little bit, but at the end of the day, if you guys want to be going for all these trophies, all these cup runs, there are going to be more games. And if you're tired, that's not an excuse, but it is what it is.
Well,
it's just a bad week.
With that being said, I do feel like what I totally get, it could be tired legs. I do feel like a lot of this is on Arne Slot. First of all, I think this second half of the season that Liverpool are experiencing are probably closer to what I expected to have happen in the first half of the season.
Yeah.
I expected to see more of these errors earlier on being a new coach, but he did have a lot of time to prepare this team. I mean, Jurgen Klopp was out. He announced his retirement from the club before the season was over last season. So this guy had a lot of time to plan what he was doing. And from day one,
no, but he didn't know what he was good. I mean, yeah, he got it at the end of the season. So at least he knew he had a full summer to do it.
he knew he had the squad.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is I think it's a little bit on him, and some of the things that I call that I'm basing my opinion on is I remember for the PSG game, you guys needed a goal in the home leg while PSG was playing away. You guys were at home. You need to go, and he brings on Darwin Núñez, who he criticized publicly for his performances, while the whole team's trying to, back Núñez. I think it's very clear to the Liverpool fans that he's probably going to go this summer. I think he was
Yeah, I
very
think so
close to
too.
living in the winter. So, but they're still backing him because they're like, you know what, it didn't work out best to him, but it seems like it's all amicable except for he did criticize his performance publicly, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like that, but you know what I mean. Each manager is how they are, so
Yeah.
whatever. But then he still plays him in that PSG home game where you need a goal instead of playing Chiesa. And then in this game in the Carabao Cup final, you need a goal, and he puts in Chiesa, and he scores one at the end. Like
Yeah,
it
and
goes
that's
to
the
show,
thing
like
as
it's so
I
odd that he doesn't have trust in Nunes, but he plays him when he needs a goal, and he
I
doesn't
think
play
it's
Chiesa,
because
who has been a
Nunez also
spark.
does much more. We all joke he misses, but there's days where he can put on a good performance. He can be a lifesaver. But I think it's the pressure that he does. He's always running. He's always trying to close the gaps down, trying to steal the ball back if we lose it. But yeah, I think in the Carabao Cup, Chiesa, who was on for like the last couple minutes, 15 minutes, he basically did so much better than everyone else, and it's just making you think, like you mentioned it, we don't know what's going on in the back, in the training field and everything like that. A lot of commentators even said Chiesa was like man of the match performance because he's the one who got that goal. He was the one who reignited Liverpool at the very end. So there's something that we might not be seeing, or there's something behind the scenes that is preventing Chiesa from getting on. But I do think maybe, I mean, I am a Darwin Nunez fan, but I do think his time is up unless he scores goals at the end of the season. But I just think we've seen enough to know that I like his pressure, but he's a striker and he isn't producing up front. And I think if he leaves, they'll leave Chiesa that opportunity to become that striker with Diego Jota, who I've also heard might be leaving. That's rumors, but I think if Darwin
Everybody's leaving.
loses, if Darwin leaves, that will leave the door open for Chiesa to have more playing time.
I also heard Barcelona are coming in for Luis Diaz, and I don't know. I mean, obviously Middle East is always going to be calling too, but Barcelona seems like somewhere where someone like him might be interested in going. But that's just, I don't know. What do you think, Alan? You being a Colombian, following the national team, do you feel like that's a move that would entice him?
Barcelona or the like Saudi or any move.
Barcelona.
I mean,
just the Barcelona move.
I think it all depends. I think if it's kind of weird because you're seeing all these rumors. I mean, they're all rumors, right? Of players leaving.
Yeah.
So you kind of wonder what's going on behind the scenes. It could just be all rumors and hearsay and nothing's really behind it. But as a player, Barcelona, and here in the Latin community, right? Barcelona has a huge following, and especially with Messi. So I feel like clubs like that, Barcelona and Madrid, Real Madrid, they're kind of seen as this ultimate goal, as the final destination, for your career. You've hit the, what's it called, the pinnacle, the top,
Yeah, the pinnacle.
Yeah.
But I think depending on how the season with Liverpool goes, maybe the Champions League kind of didn't help their case, but you kind of see that they compete. They're kind of on the same level. But like I said, I think these La Liga teams, the Spanish teams, Barcelona, Real, they just have that special place for a lot of, not for most players, but I think specifically South Americans, Latinos, especially with Messi, Argentina and all that. So
And you go to Spain, you're going to be speaking your native language, so it's easier.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
and that league is a little more like the Colombian league, the South American leagues, and
how many
flair and stuff
players
like that.
how many players have gone over, have left teams in,
Yeah.
what's Tuluni from what's his name? Tuluni? Damn, I'm having a little
What,
Tonali?
from
Sandro,
Newcastle?
Sandro from Newcastle. Yeah,
Sandro Tonali.
Tonali, he had a big issue with Newcastle. Apparently, he leaving Italy, even going there, he didn't like it. It's probably dark and gray, it's gloomy. Probably takes a little bit getting used to. So when a destination like Spain, you're like, oh man, this is like home, But
Yeah,
that's the
I
only reason
remember-
maybe he would go for it. But who knows? It could just, like I said, it could just be all really just rumors and contracts stuff is being worked.
Barcelona, you see that mess that's going there. They can't even afford to pay. Like Danny Olmo, he couldn't even get registered. So do you really want to be in that sort of situation? I don't even know what Barcelona can offer, honestly, with all these.
But they still have Pool though, which is funny,
Yeah, they have Pool, but
people are willing to play for free there. I mean,
they didn't let
it's
Messi
just-
know that.
I know. It's. I mean, we'll see what happens in the summer, right? It's we. I know we keep saying that there's a lot of season left, but there's not a lot of season left.
Yeah.
So these rumors are gonna start picking up fast, and very soon. So I guess we'll see. What do you think, Randy? So I know obviously now the Premier League is the only available silverware, and obviously you guys are on track to get it. So does this help or does this hurt keeping players? Does this keep players there, or does this allow people to say like, all right, well, I have my trophy, I have like my out. Basically, I gave Liverpool, something to leave on a good note, or does this say like, oh, well, we won the Prem, so now we're champions, we can push for more? Like, how do you feel? Does it go player by player? Because I feel like I would think like Trent. I feel like that's someone who's gonna say, all right, well, I got you guys another Prem. Thanks for
And
the memories.
I agree. Like Trent, basically, if he does this, gets a Premier League title, that's 2 he gets. Champions League, Club World Cup. He's basically won everything at Liverpool at that point. So he could be like, what else is there to win? I've done it all. He's still young. I'm getting into my prime. I want to test myself. I want to do something new. So, which is why Real Madrid seems enticing. Of course, Real Madrid is always in the consideration for winning Champions League, Copa del Rey, and all these other cups that they're in. So I think that's enticing to him. But someone like, I think Virgil van Dijk, Salah, I think they would, and like even Luis Diaz, because we were mentioning about him, I think they would stay and they would try to continue on that progress. It was the first year under Arne Slot. So they're like, all right, this was his thing. He's picking over someone else. Let's see what like Alan said, let's see what he does next season when it's totally his, where he has like full control. He's not piggybacking off of someone else. He can fully implement the stuff that he wants to do based on what he saw this first season. And I think that would be enticing. Who doesn't want to stay and fight and keep their reigning champion? I would want to and defend my title.
I can tell you a few names.
List them.
Mo Salah,
Yeah.
Virgil,
Yeah.
Luis Diaz,
Yeah.
Darwin,
Jota.
Jota.
For what?
For leaving?
Yeah.
But yeah, Darwin's going to leave because it's not because he wants to. It's because the club doesn't see him as the right fit. Mo Salah wants to stay, but it's all about contract, and that's talking between them. He wants to be paid his worth, and I think he deserves it. Usually when people get to the wrong side of 30, like he's 32, usually go down, decline in performance. And he has put up these miraculous numbers. And I'm not trying to downplay, Saka, but or the other young players, but he's 32 years old and he has been playing in every game. He basically plays through all 90 minutes.
So then why aren't they
he's
signing
been
him?
consistent.
So why aren't they signing him?
It's about I don't know what's behind the scenes, but I think he has a price in his head of how much he's worth. And you know how it is with these clubs. Once you're on the wrong side of 30, they don't want to give you a 2-3 year contract. They're
But
going to
like you
do
said,
it
he
1
hasn't
year.
missed a game. He hasn't missed a game.
Yes.
What's going on?
That's between the owners. The same thing with Virgil van Dijk.
I feel like maybe maybe Salah sees himself as like Messi at Barcelona or like Ronaldo at Madrid type deal, but they were seeing him more like Ronaldo at Man United in the second time, or Messi at PSG, where they're gonna feel like it's gonna be more of a liability, and they're like, why don't we just,
I mean, look, he's putting up these crazy stats. We don't know what's going to happen next year. Let's be honest. That's the thing. When we give people contracts, we're paying them on potential. I would probably give a contract to Trent because he's younger, so he has a higher ceiling. Mo Salah is 32. Well, let's say next year, Father Time catches up with him. Like Pat said, you don't want to be on the hook. Being on the side of caution, you want to give all that money to someone, and then they go down and they become like a Luke Shaw, who's going to be out for a couple games missing.
Okay, so
I don't think. I don't think that will happen with Salah, but I do think his production might dip a little bit. But I think he'll still offer you, maybe 15 goals a season or something like that. But I think this historic run he's on won't continue. He'll still be productive, but like you said, Father Time catches up with everyone.
So then, can you really say that you're going to be considered returning champs if you're having all these exits? Everyone's saying Mo Salah's on the wrong side of 30. I wouldn't know. I'm 21, but so who's to say? How is that now? If these players aren't returning, they know something's going on. I don't feel
they know something is going on. They know that it's a new coach.
The feeling in the building is that they're going to be contending. I'm not saying they won't be. I'm sure they be. They're going to be up there. But something tells me and maybe just a hater in me. But something tells me that maybe they're not being seen as contenders, and they're starting to do like a mild rebuild after this season with all the departures that they're talking about.
Did we think we were going to be contenders this season? I thought we were going to be top 4. Honestly, I didn't think we were going to be going for the title. That was my honest opinion.
It was mostly just because of a new manager,
all
though.
Of us, yeah,
that's all it was. But here you are.
Yeah, we are here, and I think that is an enticing thought for people to be like, "Look, this is what we did. Let's keep this going." We were close. We were first place in Champions League in the new format. We went to the finals of the Carabao Cup, and we won the Premier League title. I think that's a good reason. It's like I would want to finish. I want to accomplish more. That's my opinion.
I have a scenario for you. So let's discard the keeper for now, which is obviously Allison Kelleher's number 2. So let's put that out of the way because nothing I've heard about Allison, right? So let's assume that's not changing. So you have 10 outfield players, right? Consider your 10 starting players. Keep 5 and lose 5. Which ones do you keep and which ones do you lose?
I would keep. What do you mean, like?
If you're doing a rebuild, you can only keep 5 outfield players from your starting team, and you have to lose the other 5. Which ones do you keep?
I would keep, like, from the starting 11. Besides, I would keep my 3 midfielders, McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch. I think they're a lock. Okay. I would keep Virgil van Dijk for sure.
Okay.
And then what? That's 2 more. No, 1 more basically.
Yeah, you need 1 more. That's it.
Damn, that's hard.
Repeat those names.
So he said that midfield: McAllister, Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai, and then he said Van Dijk at the back.
Yeah.
So now you either keep Trent or Salah.
I think Salah is gonna. For me, I would get rid of Robertson. I think he's past his prime. I think he's
okay.
We need a new left back. Trent, I like him, but I think he's a liability as a right back. And I do like Connor Bradley. It would be a shame to lose him, but I think he is going to leave. I feel like he's the one who's most likely to leave. Jota, when he's on fire, he's good, but his injuries have been a problem. I would stick with Salah. I think regardless of what he does, he's always in shape. He's always hustling. He scores. He does assists. And I just think if you keep those two main people, Virgil and Salah, and that core midfield, which is been outstanding, I think that's a great team to rebuild. You got a leader up front, a leader in the back, and you got a strong midfield.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna hit you, Alan, with the same question. So you have let's say Ange gets the sack at the end of the season. You do a rebuild. You keep 5 from your starting, lose 5. Let's say Vicario obviously stays, and then this other keeper, I can't remember his name.
Kinsley.
Golden Glove, Kinsley.
Let's say that's not changing, right? I'm assuming not. So you keep 5 outfield players, sell 5.
It's hard because we have been very inconsistent midfield, but let's see.
You're gonna keep Pepsar?
5. So Kulusevski,
Keep?
yeah,
I think he's a must.
Kulu,
Tiene tremendo.
Thank
you. I would say Madison, wouldn't you?
Mickey Van der Ven.
Okay, that's a good one.
What about your boy,
I don't know if
Magic?
Madison?
I would say you would keep Solanke considering how much money you spent on there.
That's one. His age, right, but I do really like his work ethic, and I criticize him with that signing, but I think he's become one of my actually favorite players on the team.
Who, Madison?
Okay.
No, Solanke. Madison's not bad.
I would sell Madison. I would get rid of him. Have Kulu playing his role, and then find yourself another winger.
Sonny, I love Sonny, but I think
it's time.
He's still a good player, but I think speed is something that he very much relies on. And I think lately, it's been a lot of tired legs because of the minutes he's played. But you can see how you could probably get 45 minutes, 60 minutes out of him, which isn't bad, but it's iffy. So I think, unfortunately,
he can't play the games that he's used to playing, like back to back, 2 games in a week type thing anymore. He's basically a 1 game a week type of person now. Player.
All right. And then midfield.
So you said Mickey, Kulusevski, Solanke so far.
Mm-hmm. So I have Archie Gray and Bergvall, but I think I can only go with one, and it's kind of hard.
I'd say Archie.
And then I have Jet Spence and Udogie, and it's like,
I mean, Udogie was fire in the beginning, but then Spence the thing is, came up.
Yeah, so one will start, right, but not the other. So you don't have to get rid of both. You know what I mean?
Oh, really? You tell me now? You take my fucking 5 back.
Well, you're starting team is set. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because Pedro Parro does. So Udogie usually starts.
Like you gotta imagine your whole squad is fit. Give me your starters. You know what I mean?
Okay, so Pedro Parro will be starting on the right side. Jet Spence usually starts on the bench. So, I don't know if Udogie's. He's been a little off this season. But I still didn't decide between Archie Gray and Bergvall. For now, Lucas Bergvall. Him playing that midfield has done a lot for us in these last few games. I just don't know whose ceiling is a little bit higher. I want to say Archie's Gray ceiling's higher, but as of right now, of today,
so because of the age, let's just say that one of them would go on loan. You wouldn't sell them necessarily.
But Pat said the question was who you want to rebuild around. I think you would probably want to build around what you said, Archie Gray, because of his potential. So I mean,
Yeah.
that would just make sense.
You know, if
based
I'm
on-
building out, okay, and then, man, this is hard.
And that's an episode, guys. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining us today.
And then, I mean, we have Mathis Tell, but I don't know how he's doing. You know, Wilson
wouldn't
He's
count him,
alone, though.
honestly.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
alone.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't
he's
count
alone.
him.
Yeah,
he just
okay.
got in there. I would stick with someone that
Okay.
they're more
Hey,
familiar
hey.
with, honestly.
Quit yelling at me.
Never fall in love with a
Come
lone
on,
player.
Pat's got to do
Yeah,
his
never fall in love with
his
alone.
rebuild too.
Shoot. Kulisevsky, Solanke, Nicky Van de Ven. Let's just go Adogi and Bergwall.
Oh, so Paro off to Madrid.
And what about Romero?
if we
I
have
thought you
Spence
talked
on
so
the-
highly of him in the beginning.
If we
of
have
the
Spence on the
podcast.
bench, then I'm fine with Pearl leaving. And then with Romero, bro, as soon as the name Argentina came up and
you
World
should,
Cup,
you should
he
rename Spurs.
magically healed. He magically
should-
healed, and now he comes out.
Remember,
playing
Spurs
now.
doesn't have a name for the stadium. They should name it Argentina. He'll probably
Then
play
he'll
every
show-
day.
Yeah. Oye, boludo.
Boludo.
That was a good one.
Give me the
Chimichurri.
bubble.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like both of your teams could be on the horizon. First, obviously, Arne Slot will now have changes to make. I think his hand will be forced on certain positions, and then there'll be money to spend, I'm sure. For Tottenham, obviously, there's a chance.
That's a new coach's problem.
There's a chance there could be a new coach, so that's the only. For Arsenal, I don't see us changing much, so I don't know if I could do this. But if I had to, I would probably say I'd keep our back line, or two defenders at least, Odegaard, Rice, and Saka, probably. So Gabriel, Saliba, Odegaard, Rice, and Saka. I would probably do that. If anybody else has to go, that would be it. I mean, yeah, cool. Interesting to see. I mean, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, so the season is not over yet.
Not yet.
Like I said, first place might be all but settled. There's plenty of spots left. Second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth are we're still doing musical chairs here.
Yeah. And with Champions League, with England getting that fifth spot now, for Champions League as well, so that makes it a little more, more battle at the top to get that last. I mean, 3 spots. I mean, 2 spots basically.
And if Tottenham win
Forest and Arsenal got it already.
And if Tottenham win the Europa League,
now you're getting way too ahead of yourself. We're trying to be realistic.
Watch the verbiage when we win it.
okay.
Oh my god! Like you were gonna win this game that you played last weekend.
Oh, it's the that's the league. We were in league mentality in that one.
Okay.
Oh,
That one's dusted.
you decided
Done
fuck
and
the
dusted.
league. We're going Europa.
Yeah, it might work out for us in the end, and I'll explain that later.
We'll get to that. We'll get to Spurs to talk about that. But let's let's get this started right with Arsenal and Chelsea. I guess Pad love.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
let's
that's
begin this
Sundays.
episode.
That's
What?
let's start.
begin the episode.
So let's go back to Saturday. We started Saturday with Everton against West Ham, which ended in a 1-1 draw. Feel like that was kind of expected. You never know what to get with either of these teams, and then they both kind of fumble away with 3 points. Probably a bigger loss for Everton, I would say, but West Ham should be able to pull these wins out, and they're just not doing it. Then we had Ipswich, was scoring 2 goals and still losing 4-2 to Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest still pushing for the top 4. Are they going to do it?
At this point, I think it's solidified. I think
Oh,
I think it's theirs now.
oh wow. Okay. All right. Then we had our highlight game of the week, and what a pick this was. Who picked this game?
I did. I mentioned it.
We all did.
Kudos.
Well, we all
you
agreed,
want-
I think, but who picked it?
We all did. It was a three-way.
Whoa.
Oh,
All
don't
right.
say that. Can you censor
Yeah.
that, bananas?
So Manchester City 2, Brighton 2, and Brighton get the better of Manchester City. It started off with a penalty in favor of Holland, who scored it. Then Brighton tied it up with a Stupinian Ecuadorian player. There you go, Randy. Then Marmoush scores right before the half, the 39th minute, and then an own goal by poor Kusanov. He's had a
A
couple
little rough start to this
errors.
season.
Yeah. And he came in mid-season, so
Yeah.
you don't get a lot of time and he's been basically thrown into the wolves.
Yeah. And
But-
he's a young kid. Like I said, you'll learn from these mistakes, but it's a tough road, tough lesson.
Yeah, he is
Brighton-
young. I think we're the
Brighton
same
had
age.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Brighton had a
They had
could've
chances, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had 2 chances that they didn't capitalize on. They could have gone home with the 3 points, but
Yeah.
and then
And even that
Marmoush-
goal from Mitoma in the beginning, too, which was called a foul.
Mm.
But
Marmoush
close.
looking like
Man
he
of the
was a
match.
really good pickup. Yeah. He's kind of scary.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
He's got to be like the best Egyptian in the league, right, Alan?
Yeah, the only one in
mean,
the league, maybe.
Yeah, it might
yeah,
be.
because the one, what was the one from Arsenal, McKelney? It
El
wasn't
Neni?
that good. Yeah, McKelney, he was, I don't
El Neni was
He-
such a vibe, man. He was that dude scored against Barcelona, and he celebrated like he scored against like Ipswich. He was like, like he always scored like always outside of the box goals, these bangers, and he would just like, all right, come on, guys, like back to the halfway line, like, dude, you just scored a banger. But it was just like once every 3 months that it would happen. He was just he was a nice guy though. Nice
He just
guy.
clocked in every 3 months. All right, now it's time
Yeah.
to work.
Yeah. I mean, if you consider how little Jorginho plays in the Arsenal team, El Neni was like Jorginho's like backup plan. But good player, you know what I mean? Someone who didn't complain a lot, always wanted to play. I'll miss him. But yeah, anyway, so Manchester City 2, Brighton 2, Manchester City still pushing for that top 4 spot. Still very possible, 9 games to go. And they're currently sitting 5th with 48 points.
Just 1 point behind.
Yep, just 1 point behind Chelsea, who did lose this weekend. We'll get to that. We also had Southampton lose again, unfortunately, against Wolves. So Wolves give themselves a little more breathing room. Obviously, Southampton's probably going to be the first official team to go down, but Wolves do give themselves a little more breathing room with those 3 points. Let's see who scored this. So we had Strand Larson scored 2 goals and assisted by the same player, Bellegarde.
But it's good to see that they can put up results without Cunha, or at least
Yeah.
to keep himself alive for a bit until he gets back.
Yep, he's currently serving
If,
red card, right,
Yeah, suspension, yeah.
Alan?
I was gonna say if Southampton win the rest of their games,
They still have a chance at the title. Yeah, I know.
no, I think they're mathematically eliminated from the title, just the title, but they can end the season with 36 points.
But we don't
If
want
they
that. We
win.
want them to stay at 9 so they can make a record.
I
They're
know.
still not in
Sucks,
dou-
which is
not in
sad.
double
That's sad.
digits.
So
2 wins, 3 draws.
that's so in the MLS, there are two divisions. Essentially the league's divided into 2 divisions, the East and the West.
Yeah.
And the team with the highest point at the end of the season wins what they call the Supporter Shield, because then obviously they go on to a playoff for the cup. But because there's no relegation within the supporter world, they say that whoever ends up last gets the wooden spoon as a prize. All right.
Thank you, because we can't press the buttons.
All right. All right. So we move on. Just a little fact, just a
A little nugget.
just a
Thank you.
little tidbit. Yeah. Then we move on to Alan's favorite team, Bournemouth, against Brentford, and Brentford take the win.
Yeah, I mean, an assist from Embuemo to Wisa, the two pairing,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was I saw part of this game. Yeah, surprising, but these two teams have kind of been on the same trajectory this season, so it was actually a pretty good game.
Yep. Pretty
Surprisingly
good game.
that the Cherries didn't win, but
So they
I
are
guess
now.
I guess we'll have to take his coach, their manager. Shame
Yeah.
on you.
Why? They're
Shame
above
on
you.
Shame on you.
It could be
Shame on
either
you.
team's manager, or Thomas Frank or Areola.
Yeah. Hey, if you want to pay Champions League next year, let us know. Pick up that phone. Pick up that phone.
And block this number.
With this win, Brentford gets a little bit closer to Brentford. They are now sitting in 11th place, right behind Bournemouth, with 41 points. Bournemouth with 44, so they could still pass.
You just said Brentford gets closer to Brentford.
Oh, closer to Bournemouth. Sorry.
Oh my bananas.
I know, bananas. But yeah, good, decent game. I like these mid-table games. Then we move on to Sunday. We had Arsenal at home hosting Chelsea, and we finally get the revenge after that lackluster draw at away at the Bridge. And Arsenal, I think, dominated this game. They played well, and they just couldn't put in the back of the net. I will say this: I have never seen this much lack of confidence in a goalkeeper. That was probably the most horrible display by a goalkeeper I have ever seen.
For which one?
Chelsea.
Sanchez.
They're playing music.
That's been him all.
They're playing musical chairs with their goalkeepers.
That's been him all season.
They did criticize Maresca for playing him in the first place, but I wasn't expecting it to be that bad. I had heard things, you know what I mean, but things happen. But this guy, he was. I felt bad. I mean, obviously he kept a couple out, but even like the things that did keep out was just like,
But those
he was
saves were terrifying though, because he didn't.
Yeah.
Like you said, he wasn't confident with them. He just happened to throw his hands up and was able to block it. But it was a poor display. Goalkeeping.
And some of the corners, like he was like kind of going up to punch, but he wasn't getting to the ball, or he was like going to punch the ball and he would just like slap it away, right? And the ball would just bounce back into the box. A couple times we had a couple shots on goal from rebounds, just from his lack of just confidence of just holding onto the ball or just completely clearing it. Obviously, with our lack of attacking options, I think this could have been a bigger score line had it not been for obviously playing a left back on left wing and then a defensive midfielder, a striker. But
Come on.
I mean, seriously, I mean,
I'm done with that.
that's a reality of where we are,
So I heard a statement, and let me know what you think. What's your opinion on it?
Yeah.
Someone said that a very average Arsenal beat a poor Chelsea.
I would agree. Like I said, we from the back to the front and in the defense in the midfield, we're pretty good. I mean, we kept a clean sheet. We dominated the game, and that's what I expect from a healthy back line and a healthy midfield. But we're not putting them in the back of the net, and we are missing our best player. We are missing our two strikers, and we are missing our probably starting left wing. I mean, Trossard did play, but he's got his like swap positions all the time, and Martinelli's starting to get into fitness, so he's starting to come back. But like I said, I mean, Tierney wasn't supposed to, play any minute this season, and he's having to start games, and he's finishing out the games for Trossard, who basically has no rotation. Now, I'm surprised he also didn't get injured. Still fabulous goal from Mikel Merino, though. Nice little header, back of the net. So I'll take it. You know what I mean? At this point, if we can score a goal, and I'll take it.
But as a Chelsea, I mean, we're not Chelsea fans, but if we were Chelsea fans and the coach did say that Robert Sanchez is going to be the goalkeeper till the end of the season, What is your thoughts on that? I'd be like, the mistake is he said it.
Yeah.
I would
I
have left
mean,
it open
I
ended
won't
so
be
you could
surprised if-
rotate. But yeah, I would
Is-
switch.
Is Kepa on loan? Can they recall
yeah.
him?
He is on loan, but they can't recall him now. I mean, maybe when the
They
season's
can,
over.
but they'll be,
Right.
but you'll have to pay fees and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I guess not. It wouldn't matter now, but I'm talking about off season.
Off season, yeah, they could bring him back, but does he
'Cause-
want
But I
to?
don't know. Is it a loan to buy option or is it just a straight out
Who
loan?
knows?
That's the
I
thing.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
I don't. But I think Kepa would rather stay with where he's at, Bournemouth. I think he's playing phenomenal soccer. When he went to Chelsea, he wasn't. He was ridiculed. I think all that pressure got to him. He's playing.
Yeah.
He's a much better goalkeeper right now than where he was at Chelsea. But then again, Chelsea, how many goalkeepers do they have? I think Jorgensen was the one who played before Robert Sanchez became the goalkeeper again. I think you have so many goalkeepers. Rotate them right now
I mean,
to find out which one is going to be your starting goalkeeper for next season.
I agree.
it's
You
not
have
gonna
time
be
now
Sanchez.
you have now time to figure it out. But I do kind of like a little bit that he's, kind of putting a little bit of confidence in him, say like, no, you're the starting keeper. And then maybe some of
But
that
after that
confidence will pay
display-
off. Yeah. But I mean, like you said, we're not Chelsea fans. So I don't know what's going on. And I don't get involved in what they say, except for something like Caicedo said, which I will bring up if you guys want me to bring it up.
But I was going to say too, this was also Cole Palmer was out, and you can see that there was no threat up front. The only
Yeah.
threat they had was Cucurella, who had that shot that had a little spin on it that David Raya had a little problem with, but that was it, and that's from your defender. You didn't get anything
and no
from
red
anyone
card
up
on
front.
Party.
Huh?
And no red card on Party.
It's a good thing. I think there was so many. We're talking about refs, but there
Oh,
was
yeah.
like two good fouls from both ends. Chelsea and from Arsenal that should have been carded. But I think this is why in the second half there was more cards being thrown out. I think he realized he let way too much go in the first half,
Oh,
and
yeah.
which is
I
why he
mean,
woke up, and then it was just card heavy in the second half. But he let the game get out of control in the first half.
And Cucurella should have been. We should have gotten a penalty for that handball that he had. Basically, the same thing that Liverpool got just, I think, maybe 3 weeks ago. I think, who did you guys play? I think it was. I think
Was it the one where he was
Southampton.
falling?
Yeah, and he's falling, and he basically
No, he was
prevent it.
falling.
But that's
Come
that's
on.
exactly what they gave to Liverpool. I'm just
Come
saying, like, he was
on.
falling, and to prevent from losing control of the ball, you kind of like go down with your arm stretched out. It was the same.
This
the
one
same
from
thing.
but the one from Cucurella was, you can see that yes, he was falling, but he did lean towards the
Yeah,
ball
that's the
to
thing.
change it. I don't know why he did that, because by doing that he kept the ball in possession. In possession,
Exactly.
he should have just let it. He should have fallen normally, and it would have gone out to be
Yeah,
a corner
fall on
kick or
top of it.
something. Yeah, but the way he fell left the ball back in play and let it for, what was it, Martinelli, I believe.
Yeah.
But that was just a stupid play on his end. And then he's complaining while the ball is still in possession. And that was where I think Robert Sanchez made that save, or that hectic save. But
Yeah.
it was just, whatever. But it just shows you how important Cole Palmer is to that team.
Yeah, he's out. I think he was. They said he tore his confidence, or he was scared, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay. Says Arteta, who said we're playing Chelsea, who is one of the strongest attacking teams in
Hey.
the Premier League.
listen, man. How many? Like, I mean, Alan can say this too, because we were both going after Neto, and who got him? Chelsea. Mudryk
But
was
are you
someone
happy?
we were.
But Neto hasn't been. For that.
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
of course, Chelsea is paying over the, way
Yeah.
over. But he hasn't. I mean, it's his first season, I guess. But
I
he
just
hasn't
think that-
delivered.
I just think that's where the comment comes from, because we were looking for Neto, and he decided not to come to us. We actually looked at Jackson too before we got Kai Havertz, and it didn't work out. Mudryk, obviously. So I think that's where that comes from, is that Chelsea just kind of got like first picks on all these players. So that's probably where Arteta's, compliment comes from. But the fact that they're misfiring, it's all on them. It could be coaching, could be confidence, could be up to the players. But that's regardless of someone's ability. And I mean, how obviously Salah, we talk about him constantly, about him being all his stats this season, and he didn't have a great game against Newcastle. But that doesn't take away his ability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think they do have a pretty decent attack. I think right now they're just having a tough time. I don't know if Cole Palmer would have done much to this Chelsea team because it looks like they were misfiring all over the pitch.
Again, Cole Palmer doesn't have a good record against the top 6 teams.
That is true.
He's basically shut out against those teams. So
that is very true.
Whatever. It is what it is. I think it's just Chelsea got lucky. They only got 1 goal by them. It should have been more. But then again, like you said, Arsenal doesn't have the attacking for it, but they still at least managed to get a goal out of it and get 3 points.
Yeah, 3 points. And then we move on to Fulham, who also get 3 points.
Oh, Alan, are you going to take this over? Alan, are you still here?
Yeah. Yep. I'm still here.
Okay.
No,
I don't.
Sure.
When we lose, I don't disappear.
Oh yeah.
I don't pull
On vacation.
Arteta. I don't pull Arteta and just leave the press conference.
That's nice one.
The fastest man alive.
So I mean,
Alan, thoughts, man.
I think we know what happened. You tell us what happened.
Yeah, this rough
Alan,
game.
before you, what you said last week, and I want you to sort of segue from what you said last week into this week after this game result.
What?
About your
Ange
thoughts
out?
on Ange. Yeah.
About Champions
About
League next
Ange.
year because we're winning the Europa League. Okay. No, yeah, this game. I know we're in the league and we're at the bottom. We have 9 games. I don't think we should stop. Completely just forget about the league. I think we should still try to get some points and move up the table. But this game is an example of how poorly we're playing. Nothing in the first half. I don't even think we had a shot on goal the first half. Just a bad showing. We're getting players back from injury, but they're not even making a difference. And I don't know if, like I said, Romero, as soon as the World Cup qualifier comes around, now all of a sudden he wants game time. Now all of a sudden he wants to be on the field. He's probably trying to get some experience before he goes over there and plays for Argentina. So I'm kind of a little bit over that, honestly. Great defender, can't stay healthy, and he obviously has his priority. So whatever happens this offseason happens. I don't really care. And then in the second half, Ange decided he wants to pull Romero off, change the defense. We had Archie Gray and Ben Davis back there, and as soon as he makes his changes, Fulham scores 2. Unfortunately, one with Ryan Sessegnon, another guy who couldn't stay healthy, decides to score on us. Going back to Fulham, it's kind of annoying. I don't. Anybody else could have scored, but being him scoring, it kind of just boiled my blood even more.
Yeah. Salt on the wound.
It's just, it's not a great look, and honestly, like I said, I was on the fence with Ange. I kind of was advocating for him to stay and kind of vouching for him, but at this point, it just seems lackluster. Like I said last week, there doesn't seem like anything is forming. We get into an attacking position, we start moving up the pitch, and then we get to that final third, and we just there's nothing there. And I think tactfully, there's not much that's being offered by the manager at this point. If somehow by the graces of God we end up winning the Europa League, it's almost like we shoot ourselves in the foot.
It allows for lack of change.
Yeah, it's going to say, look,
he pulls a Man United, and they keep
exactly. Him. And to be honest, if he wins it, see, this is where it's hard. If he wins it, they're going to give him
statue.
They're going to give him statue.
That is true, statue.
Statue.
They name a room or a hall after him.
You can't fire Ange after he wins the Europa League, can you?
The Down Under Stadium.
Yeah, you
'Cause
can. Levy does
okay, but
whatever he wants.
But that's gonna be a bad look.
Look at what he did with Mourinho. He fired him before the cup final.
Yeah, that was
He
before.
does whatever the hell. Yeah, but
So,
he
but
does
now
whatever
it's
he
even
wants.
worse. That's what I'm saying. And it's, I want to win it. I do, even if it gives Ange another 6 months. But if we don't, then he needs to be on the way out. Like I said, this team I think is built for a certain type of manager. It just Ange plus someone with a little bit more to give. So you look at Brentford. Thomas Frank, Ariola, and Silva.
Marco Silva.
Eric
Yeah.
De Hagen.
Fuck that. Nope. I will say, though, it is different from... I can't compare it to Eric's Ten Hag's tenure at Man United, because there was a shift in Tottenham. We did feel like we had gotten our Tottenham back. We started playing more exciting football. And it is exciting. It's just not enough there.
Because you don't know what you're gonna get. That's why it's exciting.
It's not just that. Like we were playing defensive. We were playing defensive underneath Mourinho. We were playing defensive underneath Conte. Now here, the players are giving a little bit more liberty to play offensively. Be on the attack. Our high line, whatever you want to call it. But it's just lacking a lot of fundamentals. It seems like sometimes, and you start thinking. There was a lot of criticism with Ange, being that he came from Celtic and the J League in Japan, and that he wasn't up for this, and people are like, no, well, it's football's football. It doesn't matter what level you're playing it. If you know the game, you know the game. And, it seemed like you're right. He was producing, he was, coming up with results. We got hit with injuries, and then lo and behold, this season, again, hit with injuries. But who's to blame, It's too many hamstring injuries for it to be a coincidence. So, there has to be some accountability, and I think at this point,
The coaches are always the ones that get it.
Yeah,
I'm afraid to watch
like I
Tottenham
said,
game
If
because
they
I
decide to
feel
give
like I'm
him
gonna
another
get
6
injured.
months, yeah, you start thinking like, okay, I'm gonna pull my hamstring. Every time a player goes down, you're like, here we go again. And
Yeah.
Kevin Danzo,
Yeah.
we just lost him for a few games already. Signed in December. Guess what? Hamstring injury. And he talks about, oh, this is something that the players need to get used to. It comes with conditioning. It comes with time. They'll work through these injuries. But these injuries are costing us matches. These injuries are costing us games. And so we can't just sit here and think, okay, next season will be better. Next season will be better.
And the thing about your players, the most valuable thing they have is availability. And if they're not available, then what's the point?
Yeah.
So it sucks.
It's a rough end of the season. You do watch these games, not really so much. It takes the joy out of it. You're not really in it to win anything anymore, but you're almost just watching the games to make sure that you're at least fighting a little bit to stay out of that relegation. But I think we're kind of in a safety net, but it's a thin one. It's a very thin one.
Yeah.
So are you gonna still watch games, or are you basically be like, oh, it's a Spurs game. I'll do something else. I'll
I'll still watch it. I mean, it's my club. I have to, but
in the good and bad, right?
it kind of fuels a lot of those that anger sometimes. I feel like I watch this very emotionally. I'm very much emotionally invested in my team, and it sucks because it ruins my day sometimes, and,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I take it out on my son, and no, just kidding.
Man.
We'll drop a
but, I mean-
hotline at the end of this.
But honestly, it does kind of hamper your day a little bit, I won't say it ruined my day. At this point, being a Tottenham supporter for this long, you kind of already get used to it. But it's that hope that you have in the beginning of the season, that you're going to accomplish something, and you're like, this year is the year that we get something. we still have that opportunity, but it's even the Europa League has been a little bit shaky. We were beginning of the season, we had the highest percentage to win it, and that's been slowly dropping. So we'll see. It's been a little bit of a circus ride these last few weeks, months. I can't wait till week 38. We can hang the season
clean
up,
slates.
take the cleats off and say, okay, let's move on. But hopefully there's a manager that we're not just replacing Ange with anybody. I hope there's a plan. I hope they're trying to move forward. And if there isn't anything and you have to stick it out with Ange, it's not the worst thing in the world, But we'll
for
see.
you, would you like a big name coach, or would you want someone who's like a Thomas Frank, who's not who's not like a Mourinho or Allegri,
Luis Enrique.
who's established? Yeah, you want someone who's like you mentioned, Areola. Is that what you're looking for? A coach like that? Like no one knew who Pochettino was, and then he became Pochettino because of Spurs. Or do you want someone who's established already? I mean, you guys already did both, so I mean, it's just thinking, what are you looking for now?
So for me, I don't think name honestly is all that. Especially what we went through with Mourinho and Conte. The big name isn't something that is a must. I think as long as the manager fits the profile that we've built this team on, which is very attacking, transitional, playing out the back type football, then I think we'll be okay. I don't think we need to go and name shop. I think we need to look down and tactfully pick someone who fits the team. Like I said last week, I think we built this team, a certain way, and then a certain manager needs to be brought in, not just a name, So
Yeah.
And I think
agree.
Areola is someone that fits that bill, as long as the same kind of with Thomas Frank, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Summer's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
it
looking
is.
forward to it. The musical chairs of managerial lineups, but guess we'll see. We'll see if we get another year. I would love another year of Ange. I've enjoyed it.
Everyone does, mate.
No.
Yeah, mate.
You know what? Just for saying that, I hope Arteta comes back too. I like
Good.
that.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
We'll both suffer.
And then in last game of the match week, we had Leicester at home hosting Manchester United. Ruud van Nistelrooy hosting his old club, and unfortunately, he gets nothing for it. And Manchester United get 3 goals past Leicester here. Rasmus Holland finally getting a goal. Garnacho, who's been playing a little bit better, and Fernandes, who's is probably one of their best players this season. 3 points, but their season has been so shaky on their Amarim. It's kind of crazy to think that Ten Hag was their manager at the beginning of the season, right? It's like you would think that was last season, but no, it was this season.
But I think he still has a better record compared to what Amarin has. But then again, this is what you're supposed to do against a relegation.
Right. They
Leicester
got this
City.
one right.
Yeah. You needed to win this one. If you didn't, it'd be more questions. But you got the win against a team you're supposed to win against.
Yeah.
It just sucks it for Ruud van Nistelrooy. But
hey, Alan, Ruud van Nistelrooy will be available probably.
No, thank you.
why not?
Leicester hasn't scored a goal or won a game since they beat us. Oh, Lord.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. And Leicester City is I think the first team to lose 7 consecutive home games as well in the Premier League. So that's not
that's like the most
Leicester.
That's the most Tottenham stat ever.
Builds character.
Look at what every team has done that's beaten Spurs.
Yeah, put hair on your chest.
Bend don't break.
They cried.
I know, but before we got started, I know you mentioned what was the coach that you said David Moyes. If you get David Moyes, you're gonna turn Randy into a Tottenham supporter.
Oh, he's gonna show up in lily white. I already know it.
Oh,
I look good in white.
You see, I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
So that's all the games, and we have a break coming up. So we have 2 weeks until we hit a midweek match week. So we'll hold off those upcoming games to the next one. But if we look at the mini league, I'm gonna tell you guys all the points that you got for this past week's predictions. Alan, 0.
Oh, nice.
Pat, 0. Randy, -1. Oh, okay.
Wait, you didn't get? Oh, wait, that's right. Because you.
I had it for the highlight game of the week, which we all bought.
We all said City, and I think that's the thing. If we predict City to win, we can keep them losing.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think I figured out if we all got to do it though.
Like you guys always pick Liverpool to lose, but guess what? We just keep winning.
Yep. I think
Yeah,
we're gonna
Randy
pick
had
them
We
a
all
to
bad
win
win.
game.
vote. Maybe we should all pick Spurs to win, Pat, so Alan can at least knows what it feels like to win.
I feel like that was my prediction. I predicted the 2-2 draw with Chelsea, and then my prediction was, you know what? I just feel like this is one that could go wrong, and I feel like I'm gonna just do it. So if they win, at least they get the win. I don't care about the league points. I just care about the Premier League points. You know?
Well, you got to worry about it because you're most bottling it up. I'm catching up.
Listen.
Alan is non-existent, but
Catching up. A lot of season left. A lot of season left.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna add in later, but I want to give a shout out to Old City in Chelsea where I watched the game. Super lively place, great food, great atmosphere.
give us a discount.
Oh, wait.
voucher?
I have an announcement to make.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, you're switching allegiances?
No, never.
And Jeff?
Actually, March 22nd.
Okay.
This Saturday, I will be performing the Baton Death March up in White Sands Missile Range. I'll be walking 26.6 miles
All
in the
right.
desert. And I'm
Good
thinking
luck.
about doing it in a Spurs jersey. But I might pull a hamstring, so I don't know.
Oh.
You won't be able to finish the march.
So I might be posting that on Saturday.
Yeah. Do it live.
Heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about
There's
live.
a Rivals on the Pitch podcast Instagram page, all right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Let us know when you make it back live. I know you hate this time, but it's over. That's our episode today. Thank you for sticking with us. We are Rivals on the Pitch podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Spotify, like, share, listen to us with Blast on, windows down. And don't worry, guys. I know we're going to have the international break, but we're still going to be here. So please, we'll see you next week, all right? I'm Randy, your fellow Liverpool supporter.
I'm Pat.
Pat Malin.
All right, I guess that's it. See ya. Gooners.